How's it going, everyone? Wayne the Unknown here, and welcome to another episode of Cosplay Con Talk, where we basically discuss everything pertaining to the cosplay community and conventions. We are doing another segment on Get to Know That Cosplayer, and tonight's featured guest is Ero Sempai. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Another nice cold night here in Washington and just hanging out.
I've heard it's pretty cold up there.
It's 50 degrees, the snow has melted, no really ice to be seen at least, so we're good.
So, as always with every new guest, the first question I always ask is, how long have you been cosplaying for?
I have been a cos for 11 years now, so I started near the middle of 2009 in April, pretty much.
That's a really long time. Do you remember what your first cosplay was?
My first cosplay was Deidara from Naruto, and there used to be an anime store. They had all the stuff for it. So I managed to get an actually waterproof Akatsuki robe, so I could still use it to this day in case it rains. Except it has no hood, but I can still use it.
Now, Deidara, he's the one with the blonde hair with the one hair over his eye, right?
Yes,
And the
the way I
and the
and the way
mouth.
that I did it was really funny because I didn't do wigs back then. I didn't know about them as much, so I bleached my entire hair out to like banana yellow on April Fool's Day, and I come to school the next few days, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, what did you do to your hair?" And I'm like, "Ah, don't worry about it." And then when the con does come up, I accidentally go to school and cosplay. So here I am, all my bags ready to pack, all the stuff I need for being at my friend's house because they were the ones driving us, and yeah, here I am, this costume.
Oh no.
But it got me most unique when I graduated high school, so
Oh, that's
it wasn't a
good.
bad thing.
At least you got that. What was your very first con that you went to?
SakuraCon 2009.
And that's up in Washington, right?
Yep, down in Seattle, Washington. At the time, it was one of the biggest anime conventions in our area because I know Fanime had some pretty big numbers at that time too.
And what was it like going to SakuraCon for the first time?
SakuraCon at first was overwhelming because I never had. That was my very first event. Like I didn't know where to go, what to do, all that stuff. Do I stay with my friends? Do I check everything on my own? And in the end, I actually discovered, oh, I can do whatever I want. It's just my adult has to be there because I was 6 time, but they have to just be on property. So I got an autograph from Darren Dimske from Fullmetal Alchemist. Todd Habercorn walked by our line and signed all our manga books and other things because he's leaving. And I got to see my first concert of like kind of a cool band, and I still keep in contact with the ex drummer of it. So it's really cool.
Nice, very, very nice. Now, as I always ask, other cosplayers when they go to their first con, when they went to the, going to the first con, is SoccerCon con you would recommend for people who are considering going to their first con in that
Yes, I
area?
would have. Yeah, in Seattle area, it is one of the simpler conventions. Even though it's huge, it's still pretty well known, and they get some pretty high profile guests. Like I think it doesn't cost anything for autographs. Last I remember, I haven't been 12, but when I went in 2012, I didn't. I discovered the autograph. It's like I don't know if they were adapting it, changing it, but I just had fun going doing panels, photo shoots, all that stuff.
Very nice, very nice. How many days is SoccerCon? It's something I forgot to ask previous people who've gone.
SakuraCon is usually Easter weekend for 3 days. So you got the Friday, you got the Saturday, you got the Easter Sunday, which notoriously it has been known to have like a German one on Sunday, but they have since stopped that since I think 2010. But that was because their bylaws don't allow it. So pretty much you could do whatever you want. There's usually it's just cosplayer walking around on a Sunday.
Got you. Now, how many cons have you been to since you started cosplaying back in 2009?
Let's see. Counting up all the things on my wall. I, well, okay. To put it simply, I've been to Emerald City for 8 years straight. Yeah, since 2011. At least 8 years straight. And SakuraCon on and off. And I've been working at Everfree. I worked at Zombie Convention. So about, I would say, 20 or more cons.
Oh, that's a lot. And you said you worked at some cons too as staff?
Yes, I have been a volunteer at ZombieCon when it was in Seattle. It's a short-lived zombie convention in first it was in Seattle, then it was in SeaTac, and me and my parents volunteered the second year of it. So I was 18 when I first volunteered at a convention, and it was 18 only volunteer staff. So it was really nice.
Nice. That's pretty cool. So, what would you say some of your favorite cosplays have been?
My favorite cosplays right now and all the stuff I have are my Mimikyu, my Non, like both of them because I have two versions of her in my closet, and my Yuna from Final Fantasy X, the wedding dress.
Oh, nice. From when she marries, when she's forced to marry Maester Seymour.
Yep, and
Hmm.
it has over 100 feathers on it. So
Did you make that dress?
no, I didn't. The dress Yuna. I just altered some clothes and some fabric, added lace. I even made her prop, which was a lot of help because it was really, really fun because I found a way to make it like break apart and not break it. So I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
Oh,
But it
her,
was still too big for my suitcase at the time.
her summoning staff.
Yeah.
Now, so you said you had a friend help you make that. What materials did you guys use to make for Yuna's, summoning staff?
We use foam clay, use cardboard, PVC pipe, and also in Home Depot they have like not plumbing bits, but the sprinkler head things that you can connect to. And
Oh,
we found some
nice.
that fit PVC pipe. They cost about the same, and you just connect it all together. And that's how I have the top of this, just the topper unscrewed and screwed on, as you need for storage.
Nice. And, Mimikyu, that's the Pokemon, right? The
Yep, that's the latest Pokemon.
Nice. And before we started this, you said that you had made that by yourself?
Yes, I made that in 2017. Yeah, about 2017, 2016, in the middle of a move. So as I was moving, I'm okay. I still want to go to Emerald City Comic Con. I still want to do all my hobbies. I'm not going to stop. So I had a sewing machine finally. So I just went at it. I started it, and in the end, it turned into that. And the ear, it looks handmade because the Pokemon's hand, obviously, but it was really cool because I had so many remnants left over of that fabric. I made another top later for my cosplay daughter, so she loves it.
Nice. And how long did it take you to make Mimikyu?
Mimikyu took me because I was at the time working too. I work it till midnight usually, so it's like, oh my gosh, do you want to work at night? Yes, I work at night. Took me about 2 months because I was just doing things on and off, buying fabric, doing that stuff, moving, lots of things going.
Oh, wow. And just for those who are listening or watching this, that is the thumbnail I'm using is your Mimikyu. Thank you again for giving me permission, of course. Um,
Oh yeah, no problem.
how long did it take to do the makeup? Because if I'm not mistaken, in the photo that you submitted for this, you had makeup for your Mimikyu?
My Mimikyu is actually a fun story with the makeup. The first test I did for it, I just did solid black around my eyes and did like the squiggly mouth and everything. And I scared the crud out of my mother. Like she said she was having nightmares. And I'm like, oh, that means I changed that up. I'm so sorry. So I changed it to more of a like a raccoon smoky eye. And then for the mouth I did my black the black lipstick, I did the squigglies, I put the cheeks on there, and so it looked like the Pokemon, and it was so much easier than just doing all water, because yeah, I'm using water-based makeup for most of that, the lips and the cheeks, but the eyes, I use eyeshadow to learn like how to do smoky eyes for it.
Very nice. Now with you making your own cosplays, have you ever made cosplays for other people?
Not yet. I mean, I want to. I have a ton of fabric. I just need to get. Literally, I can just base something off a T-shirt a person has, and then I could just build it from. It's actually pretty incredible.
Very nice. I guess now I was told that in near Washington there's a smaller con that's kind of like Sakura Con. It's called AkiCon. Have you ever been to that con before?
No, I haven't. I've been meaning to go, but with everything going on, like I've actually kept in contact with people who is working on it now. That's bam. It's like I was considering going, and then the virus happened, and I'm like, Fred, I can't go.
Yeah, I know that. I know with COVID, a lot of events have been canceled and everything, especially cons. Do you have any updated cosplays you plan on bringing back once COVID is over with and people can go back
When
to cons?
when I can go back to conventions, I actually said to myself, okay, where's the list of costumes I've been wanting to work on? And I'm like, okay, I need to fix one of my non costumes because I have to finish the coloring on it, but otherwise it fits now finally, and it's just altered clothing. Um, my my Grogu is done, and I always post makeup tests of what I've been working on.
Nice, nice.
I
Hey,
wanna I wanna wear Yuna again, obviously, because that's a beautiful one.
and now I've seen some of your makeup work that you shared, and I saw one of them was, if I'm not mistaken, was Pink Diamond from Steven Universe.
That costume is also hand, and I learned how to do a lot of. I learned body for that costume, and
Nice. And now, for those who want to get into body paint for in their cosplays, do you have any advice or tips you like to share?
I would say when you start off with body paint, you're unsure how good it will look. Like when I first did Pink Diamond that year, I did a layer of like makeup first, and then I sprayed it down with setting spray so that way it doesn't transfer. And then you put the paint over it. Yes, it's an extra step, but sometimes it helps because you don't want to just, oh, I don't want to stain my skin. I use water based makeup for that.
All right. And what body paint makeup would you recommend for those who are on a budget?
Mayron, actually. It's usually sold on Amazon, like the small ones, like they say 1 ounce, I think, 0.5 ounce, and they're pretty affordable. I mean, they're water based, they're easy to use. If you're really on a budget, go to Michael's if you have any coupons, or Joann's, especially coupons. You get Snaz, and yeah, it kind of sucks and everything, but you just set down the powder and it's fine. The blues for that, though, they crack so bad, Brendan, so you use other.
Got you, got you. Have you ever had like any of your cosplayers? Because I know it's happened to some cosplayers. Has any of your cosplays ever like when you're going to a convention or you're just getting ready to get into the cosplays? Has anything ever ripped, fallen off, torn, or just something just did not go the way you had planned?
Oh boy. Well, I have one for my mother. My mom cosplays a Dalek from Doctor Who, and we went to Anglicon, and she gets out of the car, and one of the balls falls off.
Oh
I'm like,
no.
Mom, when it balls fell off, and my it's a conversation between me and her usually, like the joking of that. So I'm like, oh crud, okay, we need to find a called the fixing room, like the first aid fixing room, and she's like, what's that? And I know of it because I've been cons too long. So we fixed it, and then I told the people are like, so what do you need? Hot glue. My mom's ball fell off. They look at her and they're like, oh, no big deal.
Well, that's good. No, I think I have to say, conventions that have a cosplay repair station are gonna be your best friend by far.
Like I know that Everfree has one. Renton City Comic Con has one. Emerald City has one in stock, so it helps a ton. Like, that's where I got Spirit Gum to actually help me out
Nice.
before I bought my own.
And now, what were those other two cons you said before Soccer Con?
There's Renton City Comic Con, which is called RenCon, and now they're called King Con. Bleh. Yeah, their history of naming is weird, but I have done panels there, and I've helped out, and it's a really fun one. Pretty simple. I skipped a year to get married, and then I went back the next to be a speaker, and so, and actually start doing panels, you know?
Nice. And on the topic, what was it like doing your first panel for a con?
Nerve-wracking, actually, because my panel is called How to Be Confident in Cosplay, and I usually adapt it to the character I'm dressed up as. So one year I did it as Froppy. That was for Jet City Comic Show down in Tacoma. And then the one for RenCon, I did that as Umaru thing because that was because I wasn't feeling good that day. So I'm like, I just full cosplay and I had my cloak already. You know, let's do this.
Nice, nice. Um, Again, any advice for those who, if they ever, like, how do you come about getting a panel for a con?
The website usually has something on there like a form. So when you go on their drop down mention, they're like, volunteer with us, panel or something. Usually I click volunteer because that's actually the easiest way to get free tickets to go to a con. They give you a sift and then whatever after you're done with your sift. So with me, it was more like, okay, I want to do a panel because I learned some cons do a free badge for that. So I looked at the menu, filled out the application and everything, and went from there. Hopefully this whatever free, but them being hopeful the convention will come back. I want to do another confidence cosplay panel, but I'm a character is a different character, so do it more to the My Little Pony fan.
Nice. I think that's actually, and what did you say your panel was called again?
Well, for the most of the time, it's called How to Be Confident in Cosplay. But if I hopefully can do this at Everfree, it's going to be called Confident Cosplay with Cozy Glow.
Nice. And what is your panel about exactly?
Pretty much tips and tricks on how to start cosplaying. Don't let people get you down about your costumes if they're bad. It's like my first one, obviously horrible, but people still like me. I was happy.
Well,
And
that's really good. That's a really good thing.
yeah, now it just goes over all that stuff, and then if I have to tailor it to COVID guidelines, other guidelines, I can really do that because I've worked with PowerPoint so often that I just know how to adapt every point.
Nice, nice. Um, I'm trying to think. Now, when you go to cons, before COVID, do you ever get like recognized? Like when people see you, they'll recognize you and the character you're cosplaying as.
That happened at Emerald City one year. I was dressed up as Jubilee. I dressed up as the new movie version of her. So the big round earrings. I got my ears re-pierced and everything. I had the goggles. I had like 8 colors. You name it,
Very
Uh,
nice.
and one of my friends, all I hear is my name just being screamed, and then all of a sudden hugged, like, whoop, hugged. And it was my friend who was dressed up as Death, the female Death, the one that Death loves. And I'm like, I recognized her because she used to go to conventions in Olympia where I went. So it was really, really cool to see her. And she's like, oh my God, I miss you so much. And she's younger than me. Like, at this time, I'm about in 20. And she started cosplaying at like 14, but really didn't get big.
Nice. That's nice. Let's see here. Trying to think of another one to ask you. Actually, I have that at the tip of my tongue. I'll probably come back to that. Actually, I remember now. What was the hardest cosplay you've ever had to make by yourself? Like you had no help, you had to do it all by yourself.
My hardest cosplay by myself had to be Dormammu from Doctor Strange. Like, I wanted something at first, like a giant ball gown. Like, big like in the movie, because I did this based off the movie version, not the Ghost Rider. So I'm like, ooh, I can giant fog, all that stuff. That did nothing. And I'm like, this turned into a mullet skirt or whatever they're called, or like the high-low. I did, and it took a lot. I worked with stretchy fabrics for the second time, but they were more sleek, and I had to be careful. And I'm like, this is horrible. But I managed to make it. It looks good. I did body painting for it, and I want to get like leather gloves again for it because it looks so cool with it. And I did more. I did so much for that costume. I love it.
Nice. Now, is there one cosplay that you've not done in so long that, if given the chance, would you bring it back?
I want to bring back my Prime cosplay from The World Ends With You. I wore that, I believe, in 2011. Yeah, 2011 I wore that because I was, okay, I've been playing The World Ends With You. Let's make this costume. And I started transfers back then, so I made different patterns and all that stuff into emergency. Well, the pictures never came back to me, and I'm, well, crud. Okay. So, if I get the chance, I'm going to bring that one back, depending on weather, because I love that game, and I still haven't bought it for the Switch. I have it on my DS, though.
Um, Same topic for that. Do you have a least favorite cosplay that you've done it once and you would never want to do it again?
I'm not bringing back X23. I've seen so many other cosplayers that do it justice that even for me, I'm like, I could probably do like a more goofy version of her, but I'm not gonna do like the canned costume. Like I have the claws, I altered the wig, so I can't obviously do the wig again. So it's like if I ever wanted to bring it back, I really couldn't because I've altered all the stuff again, and all the stuff that I was gonna use, I use it for everything else.
Hmm. I know I've seen like a lot of people, even before, X23 was introduced in Logan, I've seen a lot of people cosplay as her and everything. So I can understand why you wouldn't want to cosplay her. I mean, it's a really well known character and all that.
See, that's the thing with me. It's like I like well-known characters, I really do, but at times it feels like too much to do a well-known character because you're like, oh, this is gonna be easy to make because there's tons of tutorials. But then you see all the other people's ideas and you're like, I don't really think my idea works. It's the imposter syndrome.
Now, have you ever made your own prompts for your cosplays?
I have made about 90% of my own prop point. Because I say 90% because the other 10% I bought were 3D printed stuff. So until mine gets all fixed up, then I'm probably not going to use it. But I have made Una's staff. I have Amy Rose's hammer, which is now Harley Quinn's hammer if I ever decide to cosplay that. I have, what else? I have made little prop macaroons snacks for my Grogu cosplay. I've adapted my skills to be like foam and everything else now because it's so much fun to play with it.
Nice, nice. And again, any advice for those, who are wanting to get into prop making? What's like the best advice you can give for someone who's, doesn't have a whole lot of money, doesn't have a whole lot of material, but wants to at least try to make their first prop for a cosplay?
I would suggest going to Goodwill, actually. Goodwill has a lot of stuff that, like, their fabric to cover up your, like, if you want to make a giant hammer, I use fabric to cover on up, and it worked just fine. PVC pipe, really affordable. Plastic glue over at Games Workshop is a whole lot better on PVC pipe than you think.
Nice. Very.
So you don't have to get like the really stinky cement type glue like at Home Depot. No, you can go to what was it? Games Workshop, and yeah, they're a bit pricey, but that's a general. But those last also forever. That's what I used on Yuna's staff for her topper after I use foam clay on it and everything else, because foam clay sticks to everything except, you.
So we got about 5 minutes left here. Are there any stories you'd like to share about any experiences of your cosplays or going to conventions, whether it be good, bad, or funny, or anything like that?
When I went to, let's see, PAX Penny Arcade Expo in 2017, I was dressed up as May from Overwatch, like the casual outfit. So here I am, and it's like, okay, there's a photo shoot at this time. I'm like, okay, cool, no big deal. So I go to it, I meet some new friends, like I meet a lot of cool new people, and we discover later that the photo shoot was separated because they said one group went somewhere else and I went to the other group, and at our group had Momokan cosplay, which was so cool because I finally got to meet her, and she put me on her page, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Now, what
and
was
that
it?
was
Sorry,
and
continue.
that was a such a fun experience for me.
Nice. What was it like meeting Momokan? I know she's like a well-known cosplayer.
Meeting Momo-kun was really, really fun. She's down to earth. She's awesome. Her costumes are beautiful. Like, I know some of them are commissioned, and some she actually works on the props herself. And I'm like, she's the most beautiful made cosplayer I've ever seen. I love her so much.
Yeah, I know. I've seen a few of her cosplays on Instagram, and they're really well done.
Oh yeah, like her, and I've actually messaged her because she did Android 21 login form, which I'm making. And I asked her, how did you make the tail? And she told me, and so I made my own tail in a similar way.
Nice. Now, how long did it take you to make, to make like accessories and props for your cosplays?
It depends on the character. Like, some characters don't take a long time because they're just PVC pipe and cardboard, and which isn't really a big deal. It was really easy. So I have like Yoko's gun hanging out in my office I have to repair, but it was really easy from Gurren Lagann. And then some props they take. I was debating whether to use staff, honestly, because I was doing this for a convention down in Canada, and I'm like, okay, was Border Patrol gonna think blah 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 blah? Because you're seeing the staff in the back, but it's like, I can always put it in the trunk. So I made it, and I like it. And then I had to edit it again recently because I wanted to have it actually fit in my suitcase for real. So I just cut it in two again, and I did that.
Nice. We got about a minute to go. So usually around this time, I'll ask, do you have any advice in general for those out there who are wanting to get into cosplay or starting to, cosplay or wanting to go to their first convention? Any advice you'd like to share, real quick?
For a new cosplayer, I would say don't worry about the quality of your first costume. We all start somewhere, and don't discourage. Find something that you like. Panels like go to a panel that says, "Oh, it's a Kigu party. You can wear a giant Kigu and have fun and play games." Those are some of the best ones you can go to. Or go to the maid cafe if you have some money, because usually they'll give you lunch for that day. And I've worked at a maid cafe. It is so fun. But overall, just have fun. If you're under the age, like I think under 17, I think it was, down here in Washington, make sure your person's on the premises. Heck, they can even join you in the game room and play video games. That's what I did my first year. It was so much fun. Like, my friends went out and did photo shoots, and I was like, oh, I don't want to do a photo shoot. I want to play with my guardian. It was really, really fun.
Nice. Again, thank you, Ero Senpai, for being my fourth featured guest on Cosplay Con Talks. Get to know that cosplayer.
Woo!
Alright. Until next time, everyone, again, thank you for listening. And also, as always, until next time, thanks for watching.